Welcome to Fabulous Women Over 40, hosted by celebrity stylist Kara Allan. Join Kara as she interviews amazing women, sometimes younger and amazing men as well, in their 40s and beyond. Here's Kara with our Fabulous Woman of the Day.
Welcome back to Fabulous Women Over 40. We're on day 3 of reigniting your radiance, reclaiming that glow, and getting your sparkle back. So I want to know what everyone thought of day 1 and day 2 so far. Does this bring anything up for you? Can you remember where you gave up, where you stopped thinking about yourself and was putting all of your attention on everyone else? I'm really interested to hear about this because everybody has different experiences and we're all on the precipice of something amazing by reigniting our radiance. So today I talked about how after I had my tummy tuck and then I was back in the throes of dating after my second divorce. I was married from basically 21 to 30 with my first and my second marriage, one right after the other. And then I didn't get remarried again until I was in my 50s. Well, yes, in my 50s. And so after I had the tummy tuck, I started thinking about I saw this movie. This is what was my catalyst. I saw this movie called Dangerous Beauty. And it's a story kind of loosely based on some woman who I think actually existed, who was a courtesan in Venice. I think it was Venice back in whatever time frame. And a courtesan basically is sort of a fancy word for lady of the night, but she's more educated, maybe because there was a caste, sort of like in India, they have a caste system. It was sort of still a system of hierarchy with if you were born in a lesser money situation, then you couldn't marry people who were born to privilege. And that's what was happening with her. And she fell in love with a guy who was not in her league, let's just say. And she was devastated. Veronica Franco was the name of the lady. The movie's Dangerous Beauty. And her mother taught her how to be a courtesan. And basically they're very educated, they read where a lot of women couldn't or weren't allowed to read back then. It was kind of a thing. And not kind of a thing, it was a thing. And they dressed very well and they were very well-mannered. And so her mother taught her to be that. And it helped save her family from, having nothing, basically. And so I don't think she could still be with the guy, she couldn't marry him. And he eventually married somebody he didn't want to be married with, but he was still seeing her. It was a whole scandal. But what I should say, the one thing that was very poignant about what the mother told her was like, to know pleasure, to give pleasure, you have to know pleasure. And so she was taking bubble baths and just kind of indulging herself and sitting around in lovely garments and very luxurious everything. So I want to talk today about what do you do to pamper yourself? What do you do to give yourself, to treat yourself with a level of luxury? For me, I love taking bubble baths. I love getting massages. I love getting my hair done, my nails done, my feet done, all the pampering. I make my own body scrub. I also make my own body glitter. And so all those things make me feel very feminine and luxurious. And it's wild because so many women will come up to me when I have on my glitter, especially, and like, oh my God, I love your glitter. It's just something about, it's inviting and it's fun and it's flirty and it's very feminine. So, what do you do to pamper yourself? Another thing I started doing during the pandemic, I went to this kind of med spa in Arlington, and they had this hyperbaric chamber. And I was like, oh, I want to try this because it's supposed to be good for your lungs, your blood circulation, for speeding healing, all these great things, right? But the thing looks like a coffin. that sits on the floor. And I wasn't deterred by that necessarily. But then when I got in it, and there's two sets of zippers. There's the zipper that closes at the top, but there's also an internal zipper. And it's something snapped when she pulled that zipper closed, because I thought, I can't get myself out of here if I wanted to. Because again, it's the chamber is filled with 100% pure oxygen. That's the benefit of it, right? And you have to be sealed into this container to receive all those benefits. But I've never had a panic attack in my life until that day. And I was like, oh no, you have to open this back up. And then I sat there, I was just like, what is this? What's happening? Like, I don't know. It was very strange. And I just sat there, and they were all very patient with me. And one of the girls volunteered to sit back there with me, because it's like a coffin, and the only place you can see out is like there's a window at the top, a plastic kind of window. But I'm and you're in the back. You're in the back of the med spa. Like, if in my irrationalness of this, I was thinking, what if I passed out? Nobody could hear me, And then it was funny. I was talking to my business coach later, and she was like, well, if you did pass out, you probably would wake up shortly after, since you're in an oxygen chamber. And of course, I wasn't thinking like that. I'm just all irrational. But I'm really trying to understand why I freaked out like that. It was just weird. I felt out of control. And there was a lot of places in my life that, especially living in my parents' house, when my marriages started going bad, that I just did not feel in control. And I think as women, we become very graspy and very demanding and not in our femininity when we get to that place of feeling out of control. And, I could have just gave up and said, you know what, I'm not getting back in that thing, forget it, but it was something I was like, I want to explore this. I want to conquer this. I want to understand why this is freaking me out. So I had a friend that came and sat back there with me the next couple times. And well, the girl sat with me maybe the next time. And then my friend came and sat with me. And over, the next couple times, because I went twice a month for a year. So by maybe, I don't know, month 3, I would still get a little ping, like, when she would zip it up. But it was lessening. And I was just able to just breathe into it and relax and just enjoy why I was in there. So again, it started out as something that I thought would be great, but then I found out it wasn't, sort of, but then I worked my way through it. And the benefits were amazing. When I would work out, I'd have so much, my lungs would just feel so powerful. I could run forever. It felt like, 3-4 miles afterward, and I'm not a runner. So I just felt really healthy. And we're in the middle of this weird pandemic situation, and which in those times that I was in, and I was traveling everywhere. I was going everywhere during the pandemic and never got it until the 3rd year, I think, is when I finally caught COVID. And I ended up having it 3 times. And I caught it at a conference that supposedly everybody was supposed to be tested before they went. So clearly somebody lied, because I caught it. And then the next time I caught it from somebody at work who was supposedly vaccinated, but didn't say that they had it, and they came to work anyway. And then the 3rd time, I don't know where I got it. And it was like each time it was different symptoms, but mostly I just felt tired and it was a little congested, and that was pretty much it. But I think because I spent so much time honoring my health that, it was just time for me to sit down when I did catch it. It was God's way of saying, you need to sit down for a minute. take a spin, sit down. But again, so I did that, and I was doing massages, and I also went and did the float therapy. If you've never tried that, it's amazing. I was doing everything. I discovered red light therapy, and I have red light therapy, all these things in my house now. A mask. I have a light up here. I have a whole full body mat because it's great for healing and regenerating the cells and all these things. So, if you don't take care of you, who's going to do it? Nobody can force you. Nobody can make you. You have to make yourself a priority. And that's and I work out. I discovered Pilates. I've been in the gym since I was in my early 30s. And so I just, your health is one of the things you just have to take care of. And find the thing that like you really enjoy doing versus it being like, oh God, I gotta go do this again, right? Like no, that's not fun. That's not healthy. We don't want to do that. And spending time with your girlfriends and family and people that you enjoy being around, all of that's part of being well versed in taking care of you. So that's all for today. We're not going to talk you to death, but think about that and let me know in the comments and social media what you do to take care of you. And we'll be back tomorrow with our day 4. Ciao, ciao.
Thank you for joining us today. Please subscribe so you won't miss our next conscious conversation with Kara and her fabulous guests. Follow Kara on social, on Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, Clubhouse, at Kara Allan, and connect with her on her website at karaallan.com. Also, leave a review if you enjoyed the conversation. Thanks again, and see you next time.